Welcome back. Part 3, Episode 8, July 8, 2021. Thank you for waking me up, dear God. Thank you, my angels. After an emotional morning, crying, being upset, and stressed, I'm trying to stay positive. After all, I have Zoe and Olivia here, and they certainly do not need to see me upset. No one really does. I played with Olivia for a little while until Zoe took her outside to swim. I sat and watched them through the sliding glass window. I'm so appreciative and I'm so grateful for my blessings. Later this evening, we went to the cemetery. 6:50 p.m., I pulled into the cemetery and I went and visited with Wyatt for a little while. And then I drove around to see Megan. There is still water laying in her area. Others have been out to see their loved one, which is a good thing. I just don't know how they would be able to put flowers on the headstones without sinking. Megan's flowers still stand where we put them through all that water, and they still stand there. I'm amazed by that. There's also a green orb in the picture, about 4 of the 6 pictures I took. When we were done at the cemetery, I drove Zoe home. When we got back home, Madison and Olivia had their shower bath and laid down to watch a movie until they fell asleep. I'm in bed shortly after. I'm tired. July 9, 2021. This morning we're on good thoughts. I haven't heard much from anyone. I did hear from Jen, and this morning, for some reason, is all about positive thinking. As my day moved on, I started feeling stressed because I'm back and forth about calling beep or waiting for her to call me. What do? 3:02 p.m. Madison and Olivia had left earlier to run errands and go get their nails done. So while they were gone, I was able to catch up on the writing in the timeline, and all of a sudden I needed to lay down. I felt ill. I went into my bedroom and laid sideways on the bed. And while laying there, I could feel my body tensing up and I began to stress. I started to cry and I asked God, give me a sign that beep is still going to help and we will get this done. Madison and Olivia got back and we are now watching a movie to keep my mind busy. Thank you, my babies. Later this evening, my mind went racing on my thoughts of if beep is still helping. I sat there and kept thinking and started stressing, of course. I asked myself, is she going to help? That question keeps playing over and over in my mind. I talked with my mom in heaven, Megan, Wyatt, my pops, my dad. I talked to God. I asked God to give me courage. I asked for the courage to call beep and just ask if she's still on board. 7:52 p.m. I call beep. She answered. And yes, she did reassure me that she will not give up on this. She said, my mother will not let me forget this. I said, all right, I need to ask a question. Beep said, yes, all right. I said, do you think there's any reason to get a professional photographer out of state to overlay the pictures? She said, no, I'm a professional photographer. I can do it. I said, all right. Well, if there's anything you need, paper, ink, or I'm not sure what you need to overlay pictures, but if you need anything, let me know. Beep said, oh, I do this all the time. I will get this done. We will get this done. I said, thank you. I wasn't sure where you were or if you still had a full plate, but I wanted to check in with you. She said, yes, anytime. I am still swamped, but now I'm moving people around. I have got to move my son out of the house and move my mother-in-law in. I said, oh, wow, you do have a lot going on. I do not want to put any pressure on you, but I just needed to know if you were still with me. She said, oh, yes, Emily, I'm on it. We will get this done. And if my mom was here, She would be right there with you, helping you. I just want you to know that. I said, thank you. I know her and Megan are together guiding us. I know they're telling us to get 'em. Beep said, oh, wow, you sounded just like my mom. That's what she'd always say. We'll get 'em. I said, wow, that's weird. See, I told you. They are working on both of us. And beep, I want you to know that the conversation we had has helped me in so many ways. Now, I do know I'm not the only one. You're not the only one. But for you helping me, you have already helped me so much. Really, I just want you to know that. Beep said, aw, I will continue to help you. As we talk, the conversation is good. Beep told me some more of her story, and when she was done talking, I said, you need to put that down on paper. She laughed and said, you sound just like my mom again. She would always tell me that. I laughed and told her, on most days I look at your mom's picture and I ask your mom to stay with your daughter to help us. And I used to pray and pray and pray for God to send someone to help. And now I get to put a name with that someone. Beep. Now I pray to God, your mom, Megan, all my angels to help, beep, to help us. Beep said, oh, I'm not backing down from this. I said, all right, good. Thank you. She said, you know, they will be out there on August 1st to take the flowers off. I said, oh, I know. I usually go out and take the flowers off before they take them. Beep said, oh, I do too. She said, but we could meet out there that day and then they will see us working together. I said, do you think that's a good idea? I think we need to go public before we let them see us out there like that. She said, oh, I know. I'm just like that. I like to get them going. I said, I'm usually like that myself, but I have little ones I have to look out for. She said, oh, I know. We can't do that, but we can try to get started then. I said, all right. Okay, yeah, we can do that. She asked me, could you give me until the 1st? I have some things I need to get done and thought I would have them done already, but now moving everyone around. I will try to be done by August 1st. Then we can get started. I said, all right, sounds good to me. She said, in fact, tomorrow, or no, maybe Sunday, if I find a free pocket of time and I could run out to the cemetery, I will call you and we can meet out there because I really do want to see some of these pictures. I said, all right, I have a packet ready for you. I have so many more pictures, and I tell people at times, if anyone wants to play, find the differences, look at the pictures. She said, we can do that. And then when I find free time, I will have them and be able to take a look at them. I said, all right. Beep said, because I would love to prove you wrong. I said, all right, but I know you're not going to be able to. She said, I want to take that approach towards this, though, and look at the pictures and see where we are. I said, all right, I know that the headstones were moved. The tree didn't move. The street didn't move. And I look at you as a fresh set of eyes. She said, well, water can move headstones. Hell, water was pushing houses into the river. What the hell was that lady talking about, that water doesn't move headstones? I said, yeah, water is a very strong force, one of the strongest. Beep said, yes, yes it is. Beep then asked me about the news station that had contacted. I told her I contacted all of them but one, and Channel Beep called me and asked me to send some information and about a handful of pictures. I did. I never heard anything back. I just believe people don't want to be involved. But someone will listen. And I know I'm not giving up on this. This is not right and it needs to be fixed. That's all they needed to do from the beginning. Beep asked me about the surveyor I hired. I told her he told me he would work on it in his own time. I met his partner at the cemetery, and it was so cold out, the surveyor told me as soon as it warmed up some, he would do what he could. I never could get in touch with them after that. I called them and called them and called them until I hired the attorney, and then he took me for a lot of money on a case that has no laws. Beep said, "Oh, wow." I said, "Yeah." I was taken for a ride by him. I said, "There's so much more of this story, and hopefully one day I will share it with you." Beep was quiet. She said, "I know how they are. I know your story is probably true, but I'm going at it to prove you wrong." I said, "I would appreciate it so much if you could. I know you can't, but hell yeah, if you think you can, I would greatly appreciate it." She said, "All right, just give me a little more time, and if you could send me any pictures electronically, I could at least have something to look at when I find free time in between everything else." I said, "Yes, I could send you some." We even talked about all the water that lays in Babyland 6 West. I told her that is the area that Megan is in, and every time it rains, it floods. And there's a pond that the ducks swim in. Beep asked, "A pond? There's a pond out there?" I said, "When it rains." She laughed. She said, "Oh, I know. I have pictures of it when the ducks are swimming." I said, "I do too. Maybe we can view each other's pictures to see what angles they are on." We both laughed. Beep said, "But Emily, I want to be the one to tell you, ma'am, you were wrong. You are distressed, you are emotional, and the headstones are where they should be. Megan is where she should be." I said, "I really hope you can, but you already know. And I know where we buried Megan at, and where we have sat with her, visited with her 16 years before the flood, and even between the time they had cut the north tree out and the flood. And then after the flood, we stood under the tree and still put her flowers under the tree because we know that is where Megan's at." Beep said, "All right, Emily, send me some pictures to look at to get this started. And don't think I'm backing out because I am not, and my mom will not let me." I said, "All right, thank you so much." We talked a few more minutes and hung up. Man, I'm happy. When I hung up with her, I was feeling relieved. I feel grateful that I made that call. I thanked God. I thanked Megan. I thanked Wyatt. I thanked all my angels, my mom, my dad, my pops, all of them. After I collected my thoughts, 9:12 p.m., I messaged Jen. I wrote, "Hi, baby. Just talked with beep," and she reassured me that she is not giving up on this. She said she is filled up the whole month of July, but after that she will be able to look at it. I'm going to send her some pictures over the phone so she can look at a few. Just wanted to share that with you. I'm so thankful for her, and thank you." Jen wrote, "I'm glad you got in contact with her and know that she is still helping. You don't have to thank me. I would do anything for you." After I was done messaging Jen, I waited for Madison to get home to tell her, and then I went to bed. I went to bed happy, a feeling I haven't felt in a very long time. I have a lot to be thankful for, and I wanted to let God know how much I appreciated all of it. The signs, the feelings, the premonitions, all of it. I am so grateful for beep. I'm so grateful for Megan, and most of all, I'm grateful for Beep's mom. I don't know her name, but I'm so grateful for her because of how she sent her daughter to us. I know it was her and Megan. I know it was. And of course, God. Everyone have a good night. Gosh, I feel good. July 10th, 2021. 10:33 a.m. My phone rang. It is beep. I was surprised when I saw her name come over my phone. I answered and I said, "Hello?" She said, "Hi, Emily, are you busy?" I said, "No, not at all." She said, "I'm at the cemetery and this is a mess. I had listened to your story and I wanted to get a view of what the area looked like. I want to prove you wrong." I said, "Yeah, I know." She said, "Looking at this, you know, as I know, I am not going to be able to prove you wrong." I said, "Yeah, I know. But if you thought you could, I really wish you could have." She then brought up reenacting the whole area of the story. I told her I could probably do the video now. She said, "We might be able to get someone to do it, but if you think you could." I said, "Yes, I think I could. I get so emotional, but the last time we talked and you said you would help me, your mom wants you to help me. I knew God was listening and my prayers were being answered. But now I believe I could probably do it." She said, "And another thing, the mosquitoes out here. My legs are eaten up, and you know why. The standing water. It still has water laying on the ground in different areas." I said, "Oh, I know. It was like that yesterday, and really every time I go out there after it rains. And I do take pictures. I have to. You just don't know what a picture may tell you." She said, "Oh, I know." We talked a little longer and we let each other go and look forward to getting together. And I can't wait either. After I hung up, I messaged Jen. 11:47 a.m. I wrote, "Good day, baby. Beep called this morning and said she was at the cemetery. She kept telling me last night when we talked she was going to prove me wrong. This morning she told me, 'I know I kept telling you I'm going to prove you wrong.' And after being at the cemetery this morning, she said, 'I'm not going to be able to prove you wrong.' I told her, 'I knew that already, but if you could have, I would have greatly appreciated it. But I know what they have done. So now I know.' She said, when she was there, the mosquitoes were so bad, her legs were eaten up because of the standing water." Jen wrote, "Oh, wow. Why did she say she was going to prove you wrong?" I wrote, "She said to look at it with an open mind. She's going to go at it like she would if she was looking at it from all angles. But she really knows now she can't prove me wrong," which I knew that when she said it, but she said that's how she would approach it. She can't, and we knew it. Jen wrote, "Oh, okay. So she was looking at it as I will prove you wrong, so she isn't in that automatic mindset of the city doing people wrong." I wrote, "Yes, open-minded to look at it at all angles." But then to call me this morning to tell me that a lot of anxiety has lifted off of me. I'm getting some pictures together to send to her, just a few to not overwhelm her. But last night when we talked, I asked her did she think we needed another opinion out of state to do the overlay pictures. And she said she didn't believe so, because once she gets a picture that don't match up, we will not go through the city, because they have not done anything to fix anything and only to make it worse. So we won't use the city. Jen wrote, "This is good news. Finally, it was meant to be that." I found news footage of them talking about her mother's grave, and I wrote, "Yes, And she and I talked about that last night also. So appreciated. Jen wrote, I am so glad I could help. I wrote, me too. And we may need you around the first week in August. She told me the same thing about the video, the same thing you told me to do. And I wish now I had, or back then I was able to do it. Maybe now I can, and I won't cry so much. 12:41 p.m. I messaged Susie. I wrote, Susie, great news. I talked with Beep last night. She said she is not backing out of this. She has to do it for her mom. I told her thank you. Then she told me she was going to prove me wrong. I said, okay. We talked, and she said she was booked up until August 1st to the first week in August, and she wanted me to send her pictures. She went to the cemetery this morning and then called me and told me she can't prove me wrong. Great news. We're going to do this. Susie wrote, I am so happy for you. I wrote, thank you, Susie. I am too. I worked on getting the pictures in order to send to Beep with a short description. July 11th, 2021. What a good morning. I woke up to not feeling like I'm all alone. I feel awesome. During the morning hours, I played with my great-granddaughter. She likes being outside. And when it got too hot, we went inside. My grandson wanted to come over later in the day to swim, and we all did. It was a good day. First day, maybe second day, that I had felt good throughout all of this. Just keep them coming. Days like this. When the day was turning into evening hours, Madison and I, my great-grandbabies, went to the cemetery. 7:56 p.m. I pulled into the cemetery. There is still water laying on the ground. Madison had to take pictures because my phone was preoccupied. Olivia had the phone playing her games. Madison took some pictures, then she sent them to my phone. After we left the cemetery, I took my great-grandbabies to their pawpaws, my son's house. I went home and was able to relax. Thank you for this day. July 12th, 2021. Thank you so much. No crying today so far. I spent the day after I took my car in to fix the CVT belt transmission. It was a recall, so it needed to get in to be fixed. When I got back home, I spent some time by myself. I sat by the pool, I swam, I sat in the sun, and it felt good to relax. And I believe I enjoyed it, and I deserved it. This was also a good day. Thank you. July 13th, 2021. My morning turned into afternoon. My great-grandchildren wanted to come over to swim, and they did. As the day moved on, I noticed, and I had mentioned it to Madison. Have you noticed I haven't cried much the past 2 days? Madison said, yes, but you hide it well anyway. I said, I know, I have to. 4:04 p.m. I love you, Megan. Madison sent me a message at 4:44 p.m. I take the number as signs. I'm looking forward to seeing what the days hold for us. Beep and I, and anyone else that joins us. July 14th, 2021. I'm going to start a countdown until August 1st. 17 more days. 2:58 p.m. Madison and I left to go visit Wyatt and Megan. When we arrived at the cemetery, there's no one here, and I like it like that. I drove to see Wyatt, then around to see Megan. There's still water laying in her area, but nowhere near as much it has been. I took a few pictures. I have to. We sat at each one of our angels and talked with them, and then I asked them to help. Beep! To continue to help us. I'm almost positive they are listening, and they will. July 15th, 2021. 16 more days. I haven't heard much from anyone. I did talk to my brother John earlier. We talked a little bit about some of what's going on. I talk, he listens. Thank you, John. And I do know one thing for sure. Since the day I spoke to Beep, my days have gotten so much better. Thank you for that. July 16, 2021. 15 more days. July 17, 2021. For some reason this morning, while making my bed, I thought of Megan. Then I thought of my niece who passed away years ago when she was only 18 months old. I remember it as if it was yesterday, even though I was a young girl. When I visit Michigan, I visit her at the cemetery. I clean off and around her headstone. I hadn't been there in years, but I kind of knew when I went there the last time where her and my brother both were. Rest in peace. As I looked at the floor sitting there, thinking of the two of them, I remembered then, it's Michelle's birthday. I got tears in my eyes and said to myself, Happy birthday, Michelle. I told Megan and Michelle and I loved them. It was an emotional moment. Today is 14 days. 6:24 p.m. My granddaughter had called to pick up Olivia, my great-granddaughter. When she got here, I told her about Beep telling me she couldn't prove me wrong. Samantha laughed and we both agreed that there's no way anyone could, and I'm sure of it. Dear God, another day has gone by, and at times I am good, and at other times I'm trying to keep it together, and other times I lose it. July 18, 2021. Time is less than 2 weeks. 13 more days. 4:07 p.m. Madison, Zoe, and I left to go to the cemetery. When we arrived, I drove back to see Wyatt, although I had to look over to Megan's tree to make sure her flowers were still there. Madison said they were, and I could see they were, and so I was relieved. I prayed to Wyatt. I prayed that he would watch over all of us, and I named my little family by name. I guess so he knows who we are. After we sat with Wyatt for a minute, I pulled around to see Megan. There were a few people out at their loved ones, and it's good to see. I like to see that. And people need to pay better attention. I pulled up to Megan's. I took pictures, but the first picture was taken at 4:29 p.m. I took this picture because this is the worst hit area near Megan after it dries up. That's what it looks like. Then I took a picture of the full view. I even took one of the electrical poles they installed after the storm we had in 2013. It is not the same pole when Megan was buried there. I even have pictures showing the pole from 1999, looking dark, almost black, and the new ones are almost a white. The whole row on the west side of the cemetery, on the whole row on the outside of the fence on the west side. We sat with Megan for a little bit and I prayed to her. I know my baby girl is watching over us. I know because she's the one, her and God, that has been guiding me through, showing me the way, and look how far we've come, and look what's about to happen. Guide me, Megan. Give me the words, give me the strength and the courage. Show me the way, baby. July 19th, 2021, 12 more days. July 20th, 2021. I was a little emotional this morning. Mixed emotions, scrambled thoughts. I prayed to God he would help me, and I asked him to keep all my babies safe, well, and happy in life. Thank you. Yes, I'm still counting the days and at the same time staying busy, keeping my mind busy and thinking positive. And at least if my heart fails again or the help, I know what my next step of help would be. But I know beep will help. I have faith in that. There's less than 2 weeks left, 11 more days, and I can't wait. When I read my daily word, it said, "Your faith has made you well." Mark 5:34. When I read that, I thought of my ex-husband. He's the one who told me years ago, "Talk to God about your illness and he will make you better." The quote made me think of that. Thank you. After Madison and I went to her school to get her schedule for this year, her senior year, and she will be doing college courses this year also. I'm so very proud of her. We got something to eat and went home. Madison needed to go to work at 5:30 p.m. this evening, so she laid down to rest until it was time to get ready. I went outside to enjoy the sun for a little while. I was only out for about 30 minutes, and while sitting on the diving board, I was looking up at the sky and saw a heart shape in the middle of the clouds. Not a small one, but not a large one either. While I enjoyed looking at that heart shape, by the time I thought to take a picture, I punched in the code to unlock the phone, and when I looked back up to the clouds to take the picture, the cloud was diminishing into the other clouds. I didn't think too much of it. After all, I did enjoy just looking at it. Not long after, I was still sitting on the diving board and I saw a white butterfly fly around. Not that it's anything unusual, but this time I looked it up to see what the white butterfly meant. White butterflies represent purity, spiritual transformation, spiritual communication, good luck, abundance, and peace. White butterflies show up when you are experience a deep energetic shift, allowing you to become more aware of yourself and your surroundings spiritually. After I read it, I felt so much better. I still have tough moments during the day, but I can honestly say I have had more days since I have talked to Beep. I pray every day that she will be there when it is time, the right time. God bless her to be. 7:49 p.m. Lisa called. We didn't talk long, but when she asked me about my day, I told her about the heart shape in the clouds, and then right after how the butterfly appeared. She said, "Oh wow, they're both good signs." I said, I thought so too. Excuse me. She said, "That's good you saw that." I said, "I thought so too." We talked a little longer and Lisa had to get ready for work. We hung up. July 21st, 2021. My day was a little emotional, but it seems as though I'm having more of the emotional moments when I'm alone, and I hate it. Today is also 10 more days. Madison and I have some errands to run this afternoon, and then we are going to visit Dixie the horse. We are also going to visit the cemetery. See you later, babies. July 22nd, 2021. I've had such an emotional day again. I'm back to crying all the time. I'm praying. I want everything to work out for all of us. I want the headstones moved back. God bless this to be over sooner than later. 9 more days. We're in the single-digit days. Gosh, it can't come soon enough. July 23rd, 2021. 8 more days. July 24th, 2021. 7 more days. It's getting closer and I'm praying it all works out. It all works out this time with the person that said, "I will help." July 25th, 2021. 6 more days. July 2021. 5 more days. I can't wait. I love you, Megan. I love you, Wyatt. I'm trying to relax a little bit this afternoon. I was sitting in my living room looking out the front window and I saw a bird sitting on my window ledge. I watched it for a little bit and I looked over at Zoe and said, "Look at that bird on the windowsill." It had bobbed its head in the window all the way down the length of the window. Zoe looked up and saw the bird. A little bit later, the bird flew away. I thought to myself, that's a good luck sign. 4:55 p.m., Madison, Zoe, and I went to the cemetery. When I pulled in on the east side, I did not look over to see the flowers were still standing under Megan's tree. But when I did notice it, I was so thankful for that. I drove to where Wyatt was. After we visited with him, I pulled around to the west side. I pulled up to Megan. It's all dried up, but looks terrible. I just wish for once they would get the cemetery looking as it did when we chose to put Megan here. But they won't. They don't care. I sat there for a little bit with Megan and I took pictures. As I have said before, I take pictures every time I come here. I have to. After we got back home, I was able to relax the rest of the evening, and thank God for that. July 27, 2021. 4 more days. It's drawing closer, and I'm praying now that Beep will be ready. Please help her to be ready. Although my brother John told me this past Saturday that Beep would contact me on Wednesday of this week. Wednesday is tomorrow. The last time my brother told me something like that, it was on a Sunday before, and he told me someone would contact me that week, and Beep did on that Thursday. So tomorrow would be great if she does get in touch with me. Praying Beep does. 10:22 a.m. Patty called, and as we were talking, I saw a bird sitting on the windowsill again. I was happy. I was watching it. I told Patty, I said, yesterday afternoon there was a bird that sat on my window ledge, bobbing its head in front of my window. And as we were talking, there is a bird on my windowsill again. Patty said, oh, wow, Em. I said, isn't that a sign of good luck or something? Patty said, yes, it is. We continued to talk for about an hour. She told me about her dad having surgery on her mom's birthday. She and I thought that was kind of odd. I told her I will keep him in my prayers. We talked about her trip she was getting ready to go on, and after we were done talking, we hung up. My day was relaxing, and I needed it to be. July 28, 2021. 3 more days. I've been whining off and on, asking God, bless Beep to help us. Bless her mother to be with us, to help us. We went to the cemetery and I pulled in, and as I got closer to the 2nd East-West Street, I couldn't see Megan's flowers. My stomach is feeling a little nervous. As we passed the street, Madison said, they're still there. I said, they are? She said, yes, they are. I drove on back to see Wyatt, as I always do when I pull up. I could feel his presence. I chuckled a little and I turned my phone on, and the time was 2:22 p.m. Yes, I took it as a sign, and I replied, I'm not giving up, babies. We sat with Wyatt for a little while, and it's really hot and the humidity just doesn't let you set out so long. I then pulled around to see Megan. Her flowers were still there, and of course I took the pictures. I prayed to her to be with Beep and to be with her mom to help us. I felt a sense of peace. Madison and Zoe and I went home. Madison and Zoe went to the store, so I sat down to write my timeline. I wanted to get the past few days caught up. As I sit here today, I am trying to think of some more of the conversation and actions of me and the attorney I had at that time. The day we went to court. A lot of that information was lost or deleted somehow, and I had to fill it in. I did some of it, but I was thinking a couple days ago, I should sit and write it all down again and see what I've already filled in and what will finish some more of the conversation. 5:05 p.m. I started thinking and writing. I wrote as I remembered it. I wrote about 5, 6 pages, and my hand was hurting, so I put the pen down, and I will write more later. July 29, 2021. Of course, this morning I went outside to enjoy the morning air. I love hearing the birds chirp. I love the quietness in the mornings. I checked the chemicals in the pool and cleaned up. As I went to skim the pool, there was a bright white feather laying in one spot, and another white feather looks like hanging on to a leaf. I thought it was like an awe moment. It was. I netted everything out but the feathers and leaf, and when I was done, I went inside, and I sat down for a moment and thought, oh wow, I needed to take a picture of those feathers. I went back outside, and the feather that was connected to the leaf was still in the pool, but the bright white feather was gone. My first thought was, it blew away. My second thought was, wow, where did it go? After I stood by the pool edge for a moment, I happened to look inside the basket leading to the skimmer. There it was. I was happy. I was happy I found it. I picked it up on my finger and took it in the house to let it dry. Then I took a picture of it. 2 more days. I did get some cleaning up done. And I also washed bed linens and cleaned the beds, killing germs. July 30th, 2021. I want to say 1 more day, but because it's the 31st, we may have to wait until the 1st, or at least sometime the first week in August. July 31st, 2021. So emotional this morning. God be with me. Okay, hopefully this will be the day. Tomorrow maybe, soon I pray. Madison, Zoe, and I went to the cemetery. We went to pull the flowers off the headstone and out of the ground of Megan's. The city people will be out there on Monday, the 2nd, and I always take Megan and Wyatt's flowers off before they do. 4:44 p.m. I took the picture at Wyatt's headstone. I didn't notice the time until I got home and I was writing in the timeline of being there. I took a few pictures of his area. We visited with Wyatt for a few minutes and then went to visit Megan. 4:51 p.m. Madison and Zoe were walking up to where the tree is, where we know Megan to be buried at. I took some pictures of Megan's area. I do every time I'm out here. We visited with Megan after we got back in the car. It was just too darn hot to stand in the sun. I prayed to both Megan and Wyatt to be with Beep's mom. Bless them to help us. Thank you, my angels. I pulled out of the cemetery telling each one of them we loved them. On our way, we grabbed something to eat and went home. August 1st, 2021. Waking up this morning, I'm feeling a little relieved that today could be the day. I'm staying hopeful, positive thinking, and of course grateful. Bless us to get this started for all of us without their headstones. Gosh, it hurts my heart. I got up and cooked breakfast, and after I was done eating, I sat down to play a couple games of solitaire on my phone, since the house was quiet. I prayed, I thought happy thoughts, and of course, when I had games that the score was 1-1-1, the number sequels, I have to stay positive. I stay positive that beep will help. It rained all morning, and it's still raining off and on. So we already know the cemetery is covered in water again. Babyland 6 West especially. As I sat there for a few minutes, I asked God and Megan, if there's something I need to do, or if there's anything I need to be doing, guide me, show me what to do, and lead me to it. The afternoon is moving by, and before I knew it, I was thinking the same thought I had just asked God and Megan, but I found myself sitting by the pool. A thought came to mind. God will do this in His time, and His time will come. But for now, I am to relax myself, my body, and I will have to be strong. Thank you. I love you, God, and my angels. August 2nd, 2021, 9:22 a.m. I received a message from Patty. She wrote, "Hi, Em. I pray you hear from Beep soon. Hope you are okay. Talk to you later." I wrote, "I pray God will do this for Beep and I am all right, but I was thinking earlier I will set a time. Maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, but I have a date in mind. If I don't hear anything from Beep by then, I will do it myself. Beep, I need your help." August 3rd, 2021, 5:29 p.m. I haven't heard anything yet. I'm having a good day though. It would be so much better if I would hear from her. I will wait. I was thinking earlier I may have to go out of town this weekend, and I thought, as it usually happens, this would be when Beep calls. But gosh, I hope not. Beep calling would be one of the most important things that could happen. But what I have to do this weekend is also very, very important. Hopefully it will all work out at the right time and it won't interfere with one another. I pray. God bless it to all work out at the right time, but soon. August 4th, 2021. I was grateful to wake up this morning. I keep praying that Beep will call, message, or something. I wanted to go by and see the babies, but I thought now that the flowers have been cleared off the headstones, I didn't go then. I waited until Madison got off work so she could go too. When she came in from work, I asked her if she wanted to go get new flowers and take them out to Wyatt and Megan. Of course she did. 6:30 p.m., Madison and I left to go to the cemetery, and I stopped at the store first to pick up flowers. I made Wyatt's bouquet, and Madison did Megan's. They were really pretty. 6:52 p.m., I took a picture of Madison standing at Wyatt's grave. She put his blue puppy between his lamb and his vase. I believe at that moment she was taking it all in. She put the flowers in the vase, and we stood there to talk to them for a little while. We went to see Megan. Madison got her flowers and walked over behind the south tree. I snapped a few pictures of her. She loves her brother and sister. She stuck the flowers in the ground, and I took some more pictures, and I keep praying that Beep will call. We stood there too to visit with Megan. 7:02 p.m., Madison had walked over to the car, and I followed not long after her. When I reached the car, I said to her, I put those old flowers we took, I said, should I put those old flowers we took off their headstones and put them on the other babies' headstones? Madison said, yeah, if that's what you want to do. At that time, there was a car passing by, so I waited till it passed, and I walked around the car to gather the flowers that were in my car, the back floorboard. I took them in my hand, and I walked over to the headstones, and I sorted them on the other headstone for some to have. I was only able to put on 6 different headstones, but a couple headstones got 2. I took a couple pictures. I walked over to the car, and Madison said, that looks pretty. I looked back and said, thank you. I looked again as I was pulling away and thought, it does look pretty. I just wish I had more flowers. I told my angels I love you, babies, and I pulled out of the cemetery. Madison and I went to eat and went home to relax. August 5th, 2021. I woke up this morning at 5:55 a.m. It turned over to 5:56 a.m. 4:03 p.m. Patty called, and we talked for a few minutes. She asked about how Madison was doing, and I told her. We talked for a few more minutes, and she asked if I had heard from Beep. I said, no, not yet. She said, oh, I'm praying. I'm sure you will, Em. I said, I'm praying too that she does. Gosh, she just has to. Patty said, I hope she does. Madison is still sleeping because her work schedule, so I did some cleaning. When she woke up hours later, she took a shower. She asked if we could go see Wyatt and Megan. Of course, I said yes. So we got ready and I finished cleaning the kitchen floor. And when we went out the door, I thought by the time we get back, the floor will be dry. 5:32 p.m. we left. 5:57 p.m. I pulled in to see Wyatt. We sat with him for a little while, and I pulled around to see Megan. And I see everyone's flowers are still there. Yay! I took some pictures and we sat with Megan for a few minutes. I asked both of our angels to go to Beep's mom and ask her to go to her daughter for her daughter to help us. I started to cry and then it stopped. And I'm happy Megan doesn't want me crying. I don't need to be. I told Megan and Wyatt we loved them and we left the cemetery. I drove home the long way. We arrived safely. August 6, 2021. This morning when my eyes opened, my stomach felt sick, worried, and in disbelief. My first thought is, beep, please call me. I raised my head up off the pillow and a tear ran down my cheek. I didn't even know I was crying. God help me. 1:03 p.m. After I had a bit of an emotional morning, when I sat down for a minute to think, I thought, I have to keep in mind to stay positive. I have to be strong and well for Megan. Man, oh man, I need help. I need Beep's mom. Where is she? Is she not going to get started? Is she not going to communicate with me? August 7th, 2021. You know, every day I pray for help. I pray, beep will help because I need someone. I'm driving down the highway and I'm talking to God and my angels, asking for guidance, asking for help. And I looked up and I saw the sky was beautiful. I looked again and saw a piece of a rainbow in the clouds. I grabbed my phone to take a picture. I stopped in the middle of the road and took that picture. I love pictures like that. I drove on looking up at it and I thanked God. I thanked my angels. August 8, 2021. It's like a recuperating morning. I'm not doing much yet. I'm kind of feeling blah. I'm hoping as the day moves on I feel better, and most of all, I pray, beep calls me. Thank you. August 9th, 2021. I'm keeping the faith that beep will be there. I had some errands to run this afternoon, so we got ready to leave, and when we were done, I decided to go to the cemetery since we didn't go yesterday. 3:54 p.m. I pulled into the cemetery. The city mowed the grass, and it looked cleaned up out there. I went back to Wyatt's first, and we sat with him for a little bit, and then pulled around to see Megan. And it looks pretty with the flowers on the different headstones. And of course, Megan's flowers were still stuck in the ground behind the south tree. And thank you for that. I took some pictures and I talked with both of them to watch over beep and to go to her mom, to go to her daughter, to help her, to help us. I told each of them I loved them and I pulled away and I had tears in my eyes. My heart aches. It has been broken beyond repair. When we returned home, I relaxed after dinner and then went to bed. I felt I needed the rest. Good night to all. Thank you for listening. I look forward to you listening to part 4, and I appreciate all. If you have any comments or questions, you can email me at Emily McMahon, lowercase letters, EMILY MCMAHAN 208 at gmail.com. Thank you.